40,000 friendly people who welcome you to Fargo, North Dakota. The largest city in the state of North Dakota is no longer the little town it was back in the 1930s and 40s. The population now is probably over 70,000. This is the little neighborhood here on 10th Avenue South in the corner of 14th Street. Used to be an old dirt street, and on this little street here in Fargo is where I came from. We'll take a walk down the street. Over there is the house where Vince Dodge and Irene Dodge lived after I left Fargo. Next to that were the Youngs. See the big old elm trees along the road? The road used to be dirt, but now it's paved. This is where the Dodges first lived. Vince was a high school teacher, later a principal, taught mathematics, was my mentor when I was at camp. Learned how to play tennis. Olson's house. This is the Erickson's house. And over here, just ahead, was the house where I was raised. I lived there for 17 years. Little sun parlor off of the main part of the house. The upstairs window to the rear of the house is the window that I used to look out of in my room. $1429 10th Avenue South. Come on up, we'll go inside and take a look. First we'll take a little look around the neighborhood. Up the street a little bit. Hear the birds. Oh, Mrs. Dahl, Grace Dahl, who's my mother's good friend, watches after her, lives in this house. And the Westricks, Mrs. Westrick's father was my junior high school woodshop teacher. Now we'll go in the house. Look who's here. It's Grace. And who else? My goodness. There are some people here. And here, come on in the kitchen. Look who's all in the kitchen.
Oh, hello. You're a little late. We've just finished.
Yeah?
I should have known as soon as we finish you'd show up.
There's the lady of the house.
Cookies in here if anybody looking for cookies.
The only one problem with this house, I've got to say, I've been going around looking at it, is there just isn't enough to eat here.
That's right.
One time I came home and I surprised my mother, and she was standing up on that counter right there painting on those cabinets. And I said, you know that here you are, you're 80 years old and you're standing up there painting cabinets.
80.
79 you were.
Well, it was nice seeing you. It was a big surprise, but I sure enjoyed it. Dirty as I was, I didn't even notice it.
We arrived here a couple of days ago, unannounced. That's the way we like to come.
It's fine. And I got a chance to see my two great-grandchildren, too. That was something that I never expected to. And my granddaughter. And her mama.
Yep, and her mama.
Her papa.
So no.
Here she comes.
Good, now you can see yourself on TV.
Oh. I'm gonna...
There you go.
Right? Oh, you waving there, too. Yeah, that's a big girl. Sure.
Bye-bye. You're not going bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
She's going to stay around for a while. Okay.
Yeah. Too bad the other little girl is... Here's my little drawing girl. Here's my little drawing girl. And she does a beautiful job. Can we lift this up, this graphic, so I can see it? Can we just...
It's a little dark in here to take the picture, I'm afraid.
That's beautiful work. You ought to put that in the frame.
This is June 16th, 1989. We're here in Fargo for a visit with my mother.
Would you turn that light back?
Sure, just
Yeah.
a second.
It bothers me a little bit. Yes,
And in another month, you're going to be 90 years old.
that's right. The 18th.
18th of July. And I wondered if we could... I got that book on Halstead out,
Yeah.
and I was reading about all the things about Halstead. And I wondered if you could tell me some of the things that I was looking for.
Well, a lot of things I can't tell, but I know a lot of them.
Well, first of all, it says your father, Sven, was born August 26, 1870 in Klæbo, Norway.
That's right.
Have you ever been there?
I've been in Norway, but I'm not. Yeah, sure, I was there. Yes. I was there with my son, oldest son, Neil. In what year was that? Now I forgot.
1977.
1977.
Yeah.
And I insisted I wanted to see Daddy's home, and we managed to get in there.
It says Sven Forse's father's name was Ole Svensson Bramstatron or Forset. And Ole was born in Klæbo November 21st, 1829, and died in the year 1904. And Ole married Martha, the daughter of Andreas Olsen Sornypon. That's Sornypon. I don't know how to pronounce that.
That was his father.
Martha was born June 4th, 1833.
Golly, you know something? I didn't know that. I'm glad you found it.
And Ole and Martha and Sven, the little boy, moved to Trondheim in 1872, it says.
Isn't that something?
And Andreas, his brother, was born April 13th, 1872. And Sven had two other brothers, John and Andrew. Did you know that?
Yeah, I know you had John and Andrew, but I didn't know about the. I didn't think there was three there.
Well, there
Oh,
were three
yeah,
boys.
Sven, yeah,
Sven,
Sven,
John, and Andrew.
Yeah, that's right.
And that Sven left Norway for America and arrived in the United States on September 20th, 1890. He was 21 years old when he came to the Peter Nygaard home in Halstead.
That's right.
And he took up carpentry and hauled mail to Moorhead.
That's right. You know, when they were hauling mail, there was so many wolves around. They had to hang lanterns on the horses to keep the wolves away from them.
Says
That's the story my father told me, anyway.
he married Regina Gilbertson January 12th, 1899.
That's right.
And Regina was the daughter of Gilbert Gilbertson, who was born July 4th, 1853 at Boscobel, Wisconsin, and died March 18th, 1925.
Yeah.
Come on in, Bill. Sit down, sit down. No, come on in. Pull up a chair. Pull up a chair.
Yeah.
We're going over some history here.
Okay, super. Yeah, I just
A little closer to my
Yeah,
mother there. So.
Okay.
Good.
I didn't know I'd go on camera so soon.
Well, let's hope that it isn't any better than that.
Well, I hope we have a better presentation than
Well,
Johnny
he maybe
Carson
can help
does.
me.
Well, the reason I'm doing this is Harriet told me that you interviewed, was it her grandfather, was it
Yeah,
Harriet?
Yeah.
And then you typed up the interview and you had something that was really worthwhile. Well,
It's the only record they had. Think of that.
and I'm getting into some of this with Mother and
Yeah.
checking it out and seeing what she remembers about it. When were you born? Do you remember?
Yeah, July 18th, 1899. I was born the same year they were married.
And where were you born?
In Halston, Minnesota.
Halstead?
How about Shelley?
No, I was born in Halston,
You were
Minnesota.
born in Halstead.
That's right. And we moved to Shelley later on when I was 5, 6 years old.
That's what I thought too.
Yeah.
You know? So you find out the
Yeah.
truth.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you moved to Halstead?
When I was born in Halston.
No, but I mean you moved to Shelley.
Oh, well, I don't think we stayed in Shelley very long, a couple of years maybe. We built a home though there. Dad built a home.
Do you remember it?
Yes. I remember really. I remember going across the field to a school, small schoolhouse. I was 7 years old because my father and mother didn't want to take me away from the brother, which was born a year and a half later.
And who was that?
They kept me out of, that was George. They kept me out of school until and when I started school, I couldn't even speak English. So I had all the, I don't know what you call them, against me.
Work
Starting
backwards.
my education, but I got along all right.
Well, what language did you speak?
Norwegian. I understood that better than I did English. But then when I got to school, it didn't take me long to catch on to the English. But,
All right. Then when did you move back to Halstead? How old were you then?
I'm not too sure, but about, I think maybe about 2, 3 years. Oh yeah, later. I don't think we lived there. My father was in charge of an elevator. They transferred him from Halstead to Shelley and then transferred him back.
I see.
So that's how that happened. Then he went we lived in town for a few years, and the doctor, he became ill, so the doctor decided that he'd better quit the elevator business because of the dust. Or he said, you'll have tuberculosis. So what happened, he bought a piece of land half a mile out of town, and he grubbed all those oak trees off. And they blew all of them out with dynamite, and we as children, we piled up the hazel brush.
I can cut it out.
I get that when I talk a lot.
Well, you don't.
But then they built a house there and moved us all down there. And there's one thing I remember well. It was I was 12 years old, and they put me in overalls, and I didn't like it. But we had they put my George and myself, and I think Verna had a little helping with hauling the hazel brush. There was nice hazelnuts on those things, but Dad wanted it into a crop, and which he did. He got it into about, I would say maybe to begin with 50 acres, and put it in potatoes. And it was during the time when they were selling potatoes $5 a bushel. And they came out of there just like grapes, so a big bunch of them. And so he made some money that year and got on his feet. And I guess he had better, because there was about 7 or 8 of us then. And we wound up as being 10 children in the family. So he had lots of help.
Tell me about the children, who all they were.
Well, I was the oldest. George was the next. Verna's the next. Oscar is the next. Marty was the next. And Marty. Harold is the next. And
Agnes?
Harold. Agnes. Did I mention Agnes before?
No, Agnes.
I maybe got those mixed up, the two of them. Agnes. And then I didn't mention Franklin, and Eleanor and Arthur. I guess that's all of them.
Well, there's a story in here about Arthur, too. I don't know, have you seen this, Bill?
Yes, I have. Yes, I've read it in detail. Very good.
Arthur, he went into manufacturing business.
Gladys did most of the reporting to the.
What was the name of those sleds?
That's why I said
water sleds, I guess. Did you call them water sleds, or what do you call them? Yeah.
It says here that your mother, Regina Sophia, S-O-F-I-A, Sophia?
Yeah.
Gilbert.
Regina Sophia. But I guess she was named Sophia, but they put her, they started to call her Regina. Or Regina, or what's it called?
Her mother was Carrie Vicker, C-K-A-R-I, Vicker,
Yeah.
V-I-K-E-R. And her mother was born in February 1860 in Fillmore, Minnesota, and died December 14th, 1887.
She died when...
Just a minute. Marilyn? We're doing this right now. Thank you.
The sound.
Thank you.
Well, she died
In December of 1887.
She left 3 children.
Regina and Henry Orlando Gilbertson, who was born November 10th, 1882, and who died in June 1st, 1952, and Emma Petterine, Pettrine, who was born August 18th, 1885, and died April 11th, 1888. She was quite young. She died 3 years later, right?
3 months
Emma.
later. 3 months later.
It says 3 years.
Yeah, but it wasn't. It's 3 months.
I see. Well, see, that's what we got this for. We're checking it
She
out.
died from a mastoid. And she kept crying for her mother all the time. And she didn't last more than 3 months. And then she was, Dad was left, or her father was left with the 2 of them. And Mother tells about the time how Grandpa, for the time being, he used to take a chair and put the wash basin on, and she washed the dishes. She was about 7 when her mother died.
His Gilbertson's second wife was Malene Elizabeth Hoynes, H-O-I-N-E-S, who was born September 6, 1855, and died February 1937. And she had four children. It says Hilda, Carl, Gamanda, and Ida.
Ida. And Ida's the only one that's left. And she lives in Oregon right now, in a nursing home. And she's just 2 years older than I am, which would make her 94. No, 92.
And you knew Hilda and Carl and Gamanda also.
Oh, yes. Gamanda moved to Canada, so she was in Campbell, Canada. She raised her family there. My grandfather had the land down there, and he sent them out to California, Canada. But her husband was from Halston. His name was Nashville, N-A-S-V-O-L-D.
I seem to remember during World War II that there was a Canadian young boy that came here.
That's
he was
right.
on his way to England.
Yeah, I can't remember what his name was, but he came to visit Mother. And he hadn't been back very long before he was killed in this service. And that's the last I knew about him.
He was in the Canadian and Royal Air Force.
Yes.
It says here Sven went into partnership with Halder Nygaard at a meat market in Halstead, selling out there to manage the Halstead elevator. Do you remember when he was in the meat business?
No, I was too young then. But that's when he first came from this country. And he worked there for a whole year for $8. I suppose he got his meals for nothing. I don't know, but he had $8 for the year's work.
Says he then went to Shelley for the 4 years managing the Shelley elevator, and then he came back to Halstead again. And he was one of the founders and managed the Farmer's Potato Warehouse.
That's right.
You remember that?
Yeah. And that's after he started in the potato. He was one of the first potato men in Halstead.
It says he had been vice president of the State Bank of Halstead.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you remember that time?
Yeah. I'll tell you a little bit more about it.
Go ahead, tell me. Tell me about it.
I like hearing stories about bankers.
Yeah, I don't think I...
You don't
Anyway, he later on, he loaned one of the other directors some money, and two of them. I won't mention their names. But anyway, well, it doesn't matter to you because it's Silver and Dog, one of his best friends. And my father was so upset about it that he didn't speak to him for I don't know how long, but they finally decided to pay him. They wanted to be friends again, so they paid him what they owed him. And in those days, $5,000 was a lot of money, and that was what he had loaned them. See?
It's a lot of money today.
That's right. He was secretary of the Halstead Telephone Company.
Yeah, he was in love with everything. He's on the school board, too.
Yes, that's what it says. 12 years as president of the school board. And a member of the Sons of Norway.
Yeah. He was till he died. Mother was of the daughters of Norway.
Held several different offices as a member of the Halstead Lutheran Church.
Oh, yeah. He used to sing in the choir, and they always knew he was missing.
He had a good voice.
Yeah. But he didn't leave any out of us. We're pretty bad. I guess Marty must have been pretty good. She sang in a choir down there in, what's the name of that town she lived in? I don't know, down there in Nebraska, I guess it is, Nebraska. She lived with her daughter and her son-in-law down there.
It's Omaha?
Yeah, Omaha, Nebraska. And they somehow or other way want to keep her busy, so they got her singing in the choir.
Now, when he was a singer, I remember you one time telling me you had some favorite songs that you used to like to hear him sing.
Well, the one I remember the best was, they always knew when he was in church, but the one he used to put out to sing was song, Little Brown Church in the Wildwood. And we'd gather all of us around there, and then we'd have the round or something. He played the organ. We had the organ in those days.
He could play?
Oh, yeah, he played that anyway. I know that.
Says that he built the altar at the old Halstead Lutheran Church, and that this altar is still in use at the Knee Gone Knee Church at Roy Lake.
I don't know what became of it, but I know that he built the altar.
Where's Roy Lake?
I can't speak.
But Red Lake, I know where.
Roy Lake.
Oh, Roy Lake. That's just about 40 or 50 miles around Ada, Minnesota.
It's still, apparently still there.
Yeah, it still is. The Dallas had a cottage out there, so we went out there quite often.
It says they had, well, we won't get into that. It says he bought the 100-acre farm and built the house where the family lived, and the place was all woods, and he grubbed out the stumps and made a beautiful homestead. And ill health forced him to retire, and he passed away March 25th, 1938, at the age of 67 years.
That's right.
Now, Regina, on the other hand, who was born May 30th, 1880, lived a long life. She was an active member in the Sons of Norway and was given a life membership in the Daughters of Norway.
That's right.
What did they do? What is that organization all about?
They had meetings and gatherings and parties, and you know what all these lodges do. Had business meetings.
Yeah, I was active here in Fargo for a bit.
I see they've got a big building up the street.
Yes.
In 10th Street, is it?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Very, very active here. And of course, if you're not Norwegian, you don't survive in this community. Even the coffee we drink is called Norwegian gasoline.
I saw in here that in the 1910 census, there were roughly 13,000 people in Norman County in Minnesota. And of those, 9,000, or all but 4,000, were either Norwegian or children of Norwegians. In other words, immigrants from Norway or children of immigrants from Norway.
Very few, there were a few Swedes in there.
In those days, we really had some bad storms and stuff. And Dad hauled the mail from Falstead to Moorhead. I don't know how many winters he did it, but that's when he was just shortly after he came from Norway. And I think that's part of the job he had when he was working at the meat market. I'm not quite sure of that, but it's in that period anyway, before he got married.
What kind of storms you talking about?
Snowstorms.
Winter.
Winters were rough, but we kids enjoyed it. I know I cried when we moved to the farm because I didn't want to be on the farm. All the girls said, "Oh, you're a farmer. You live in the farm." And I didn't like that very well. And of course, when they put overhauls on me, that was worse yet. So, but we had to have something on when we were out there in the brush, you see.
It says that Regina was also active in the Halstead Lutheran Church, the Ladies' Aid, and other church activities. And her last years were spent at Villa Maria Nursing Home
That's Villa.
and the Halstead Lutheran Memorial Home, where she passed away July 3rd, 1979, at the age of 99 years. You took care of your mother for a long time, didn't you?
5 years I was out at the farm. And then from then, between Maud and myself, after we moved into Fargo here, we changed. Maud took 4 days, and I took, no, Maud took, yeah, she took 4 days, and, no, it was 7 days in a week, isn't it? She took 3 days, and I took 4 days, because they love to go golfing. And so I thought she should be with her husband during the weekend. So I took the weekends and took care of mother and whatever I had to do for her at the nursing home. And then we moved it to Halstead because we thought she was always begging to go home. We thought maybe if she could get it to Halstead, she would be more satisfied knowing the people that were caring for her. But that, I don't know by that time she even knew where she was going, because I took her home for her last birthday. And she wouldn't cooperate with us at all. She wouldn't smile, she wouldn't do anything. So we decided, I said to her mother, "Do you want to go home now?" And she said yes. And you know, she was in her home, but she didn't know the difference. So I felt better about it too, because I was feeling bad because she was wanted to be home, and she didn't know where she was. And she's quite a gardener. I mean, like flowers and things. She had beautiful flowers. I don't know how she did it all. Took care of us, and the house was full of people all the time.
All right, tell me a little bit about your growing up in Halstead. You went to school.
That's about all. I was confirmed and went to church and Sunday school. And
How about the holidays?
well, the holidays were usually old settlers picnics, and our holiday at home was having we used to work in the hay field, all of us, and get the hay, and then at noon we all quit, and Mother would have a big ice cream freezer full of ice cream, maybe sometimes with strawberries in, sometimes with bananas in them, and we had a big the day after, but sometimes I go to the old picnics, settlers picnics, and I didn't like picnics, the mosquitoes were too bad, so they hardly ever got me to go with them when they went there, but otherwise, that we, you know, and Christmas, we had the holidays.
What did you do at Christmas time?
Well, we went to church and church programs, and then came home. Our dining room table was so loaded with stuff, we didn't know where we would start to eat.
Lots of presents? Toys
No,
and things
my
like that?
father didn't believe in a lot of presents. He wouldn't let us take any present, bring it to church. But when we got home, we always had one. I probably got a material for a dress, or somebody got shoes, or something. Things weren't so, you know, good for the folks for a while, but we never was hungry. It was always, you know, he raised cattle. He had pigs and chickens and turkeys, peacocks even.
In those days, they didn't have tractors, did they?
Didn't have what?
Tractors. Farm machinery.
No, we had horses. We had horses and cows and chickens and pigs and all that. And he took care of all of that.
And you helped your mother take care of the children?
Oh, sure.
How old were you when you left home?
19, I guess. I think I was 19. I finally said, I want to go.
And where did you go?
I went to a Fargo nursing home. I mean, Fargo, St. Luke's Hospital nursing home. I mean, I'm
Lady,
11
Nurses training.
training, yes. I was there for 3 years.
And you finished nurses training?
Took my RN and I went back to work. I
And
did
what year was that you got your RN?
1922.
And then you worked in the hospital?
Yeah.
Which
no,
hospital?
I did private duty to begin with. And
Where'd
then
you do that?
And then I went to visiting North Dakota for about 2 years, took care of an old lady. And they wrote and asked me if I wouldn't come take over the operating room. And of course, that was too much of a temptation, so I did go back and I worked in the operating room.
Now that's what hospital did you go back to? What hospital?
St. Luke's Hospital in the operating room,
In what city?
Fargo, North Dakota, where I graduated.
And how long did you do that?
Well, I'm not quite sure. It's about 3 years, I think. I met Neil, see?
And did you know his brother Cecil at that time?
No, I knew. I had a friend who knew Cecil, and then he said he was going to bring there was another. He had a brother. He said, "I'm going to bring him over. I want you to meet him."
So Helen met Cecil first.
No, I met him first.
Oh, you met Cecil first.
No, I met Neil first, and through Peterson.
Oh, tell me about that. I don't know that story.
Well, we went over to Peterson's, Helen and I, one day.
And who is Peterson?
That's a friend of Cecil. So he worked in the same building as in the American Express. And Cecil worked with him, and Peterson was the boss of that department anyway. And we went over, I knew his sister, I can't remember her name right now, Eugene, and Eugene or something like that. But she wasn't home that day when we came, but Clarence came down, he was shaving, he had all the shaving material on him, and face yet he hadn't even washed it off. And he wanted to come in, and I said, no, we won't do that. He said, I got somebody I want to bring over to you meet, he said. I said, oh yeah, you said it before, I said. So I didn't pay any more attention to it. As I got out, I said to him, he wasn't going to do that, he's just telling us. So we got home, and so lo and behold, in about a week, somebody did call, and it was Clarence. He said he's bringing the boys over and wanted us to meet them.
Both of them? Both
yeah,
boys?
both of them. And I said, well,
Like
I just can't go today. I said, the operating room is going full blast, and I said, we got instruments all over the place, and I said, I can't leave because we get emergencies right along, and it was in the summer, I said, I just can't go. Well, he said, how about 8, 9 o'clock? And I said, well, I'll try and get ready, but I said, it's a mess up there. And I went to where I was, full of sweat and dirt, but Helen had time to go home and take a bath and fix up, but I didn't. We got in the seat with Neil, met him.
This was Neil came, and who else?
Neil and Peterson and Helen and Cecil. We all went out, and I fell sound asleep.
Where did you go?
We went for a ride. I think we went to Detroit Lakes. As we started, I bet you I wasn't in there 10 minutes before I went. Oh, I was full of ether and everything else, you know. And I went sound asleep, but lucky it was only for a second. And no, I don't know whether anybody noticed it or not, but I went sound asleep.
You were riding in a car.
Yeah, I was in the front seat. Neil had the car.
What kind of a car was it, you know?
I don't know, Lincoln, I think.
Packard?
I think it was Lincoln Zephyr. Yeah, I think that's what, or was it a Buick? We had a Buick too, you know.
Yeah,
I don't know which of it was. Anyway, then we went just for a ride, and then we came home. But I didn't get rid of him then. He was just right on my tail all the time. He'd come without calling and everything else. And I'd be in the operating room, and they'd sit and wait for us. And that's the way it happened. The first thing I know, I was getting married.
Now, Helen kept going with Cecil?
Yeah. I didn't think that was going to work for a while, but it did.
Did they get married about the same time?
No, a year later. They were a year later. They got married at Leroy, Wisconsin, and I was married in Moorhead. We didn't have any special wedding.
And after you got married, where did you go and live?
Right here, in this house. We bought this house, and we moved in.
In what year was that?
1926.
And was it a new house then?
6 months older. And I thought it was pretty nice. And I passed up one now that I wish now I had bought, but everybody else says, oh, no,
Whatever
no.
you do, don't go down A Street.
Yeah, I know. We've been there already.
Yeah.
So anyway, I wound up here, and I've been here for 60-some years, 61 years, I guess it is. So I'm just about ready to leave it, I guess.
Oh, stick around for a few more years.
Yes, you will.
And of course, you had 3 children, 2 of them sitting right here at the table.
Yeah.
Neil
Yep.
and Carl and William.
Now, did you give up nursing entirely?
Neil wouldn't let me work. He wanted me to quit working. He didn't want me around all those different men around. I guess I don't know, but he wanted me to get out.
You know, the doctors.
Yeah.
Anyway, I moved out here then. I worked from February till May, and then he said that's enough. So I moved out here then, and of course you were born in 27. And that's the way it's been going then. Neil and Carl were born in 31. And from then on it was school, universities, marriages.
Okay. And then,
Continued something.
did you ever go back to nursing?
Oh yes, after the boys all left for university, I said, I'm not going to stay home here and clean up houses all day. I'm tired of that. So I went up to the hospital. I said, can I come up here and help you? Help us, you bet you can. Come on tomorrow morning. And I said, oh, I can't do that because I haven't got any uniforms and stuff. But I'll come Monday if it's all right. Fine.
Had you kept up your RN during this whole time?
No,
I mean,
yes, I had.
You
I
kept your membership and so forth?
I kept that for a good many years even afterwards. But then I got tired of that. But I got a membership, a membership, so I can still go back.
And then what did you do in the hospital at that time when you came back?
I did private duty, general duty on surgical floor. And then I got smart. We got $5. We got $5 a day nursing. No, $20 a day nursing. And I guess I got about $200 a month the other way around. So well, you see, I made up quite a bit of money when I went out to Bisbee. At that time, I was making $5 a day. But after that, I got about $20 a day. So I did that till Mother got sick. Then I went up to see how she was, and I didn't like it. She was sitting to the table about 4 o'clock eating food that you're waiting for Frank to come home because he was out in the field. And he didn't come home. He used to go out downtown and eat, and she'd be sitting waiting for him. because, well, he knew what he was going to get into, I suppose. So went out to the field where he was. He had bought a farm, or a father gave him a farm. And I went out to the farm and I said, Frankie, Mother can't be lonely, you know. I said, I know it and I don't know what to do. And I said, well, I know what to do. I'll go back and I'll quit my job and I'll come home if you want me to. He said, I sure do. So I said, okay, I'll be there. So I went home and I stayed there 5 years. Then the girls were kind of fussing about that, and they wanted to get somebody else there. So I said, okay, get somebody then. And we got some help in there. The first girl we got was Honey, but then she was offered a better job, so off she went. Then we got another one who was a private duty. No, she wasn't private duty. She was head of a hospital in Park Rapids. And talk about a mess she turned out to be. So Mother fell one night, and Franklin heard her. Franklin was a light sleeper, and he heard her. And the girl was downstairs sleeping on a daybed there because Mother wasn't feeling good. And Franklin heard her fall. So he rushes downstairs, and they called the doctor, and he heard her sent to the hospital. So she went over to St. Luke's and she was there quite a while there. Then he said, Dr. Bailey, or Dr. Wold said, you're not going to take her home. He said, you can't handle her. But by that time, I had developed a blood pressure. And he said, you're not going to take her home. He said, you're going to put her in. I said, I'm going to take her home. He said, you're not going to. He said, I got my own father in a nursing home. You're going to put her in, too. So in Lucky George is in town. And we're in Maud and what's his name? Her name? Jackie we went searching for a nursing home. And then Villa was just opened up, brand new. So I said, to me, I'd be satisfied here. It's a Catholic hospital, but that doesn't make any difference, or nursing home. I said, that doesn't make any difference. Because I'm here, I can watch her. And so, not because I distrusted them, but the people that were there, just wonderful folks. Mr. and Mrs. Vincent Crary. And she'd go and talk to the patients when they were looked down low and everything. She was wonderful. So I was perfectly happy to put her in there. And she stayed there for 7 years. But she kept begging to go home. If I had a car outside and she happened to walk by it, she said, put me in there. So you see, by that time, she still knew where she was. But when we moved her, we were a little doubtful. And the reason we moved her was because the hospital home, or the nursing home, was beautiful and brand new, you know. It's still a nice place. And we thought she'd be happier there because we worked with people she knew, but she didn't act like she knew we would care. But her excellent with care was even better than the nursing home in Fargo. So we just kept her there. But she kept begging, and she got so she just hung her head, and she wouldn't even look at anybody. If you put her out in the hall with the rest of them, she just felt like this. And that was pretty tough to watch. So I just said to her, when the birthday came, I said, we're going to take her home for a birthday party. And all the girls were right there, too. They did most of the work for that. And we took her home. She wouldn't hardly talk to us. So we put her, I said, I'm going to put her to bed and see if we can get her to cheer up a little bit, thinking she'd be home. So we put her to bed, and they were coming to take her picture from downtown. The photographer downtown was coming at a certain hour, so we got her up. And I got pictures of her. I got something to look for that for you. You can see how she looked. She just hung her head. She wouldn't smile, wouldn't do things. She wouldn't even eat. So finally I said to her mother, should we go home now? She said yes. And that was the end of her then. And then she stayed there then, she should have died. It was about a couple of years ago. I don't think it was much longer than that.
Tell me about some things I don't know really too much about. Your husband's family, his father and mother, their families, anything about that, where they came from? What do you know about that?
I don't know anything much about it.
The names of the people?
Know. My father we never thought to ask about it, how I wish I had now. All I know is that my grandmother was a practical nurse, and my father said if he'd had the money, he would have taken up medicine.
This is your own father?
My own father, yeah. And he had a brother that was an architect, and the brother that died quite young, Ole, his name was. And so I really don't know too much about it. But I did get inside a house and saw the place where the home he'd built, and I saw all the beautiful buildings he had built in Norway. You did too.
Yes.
So he was an builder. He wasn't. I don't know if he's an architect, but my uncle was an architect. And we went into the church where they had this picture on the wall of, I don't know what to call it, but it was there as one of the members that had built the church. And my father was baptized. I saw the fountain he was baptized in. So that's just about all I can say about him.
How about Dad's family? Do you know anything about them?
Oh yeah, they were.
When did you
Grandpa
first meet?
was-
When did you first meet them?
Well,
you-
after I was married though,
Mhm.
I didn't mean we were married. We went home. They were two grand people, really, really, really nice people. Grandma was Jewish, and
What was her name?
Ida. But she had a goiter, and so she wasn't in the best of health. One of these ex-folks told me, what do you call them? I'm getting so bad on words, I don't know what. But anyway, they had a nice home, nothing fancy, but real good.
And where was
boy,
that?
she a good cook
Where was the home?
at Hawthorne, Wisconsin. I'll never forget her chicken dumplings and chickens and her roasts and stuff. She was a good cook. Grandpa was a good cook too. We used to after she passed away, he'd always go downtown and get a roast pork and have that ready. For breakfast, he always had oatmeal. The rest of us had bacon and eggs and everything else, but he always had to have his oatmeal. No, it was a real nice family, and he was a drayman. That was his business. He used to haul the warehouse or people around. The warehouse were down there doing the lumbering until they had a big fire that drove the warehouse. The first time my father said he would tasted peas, the warehouse brought his family down, and they had tents where the family was living in. They had maids down there. And he said, they invited me to have dinner with him. And he said, the first time I ever tasted canned peas.
Who is this that said that?
My father said the first time he ever had tasted canned peas was Warehouse's home.
Your dad?
Yeah. And my father was telling this about to some friends that were traveling to, was it California, I believe it was, or someplace he was on a court case. And they said, oh, you don't know Warehouse.
I think you're talking about your husband.
Yeah, I'm talking about my husband.
Not
Neil.
your father, your husband.
Yeah. He said, oh, you don't know her Warehouse. He said, I sure do. He said, well, he's coming through pretty quickly. He's walking through the dining room. We'll see if you know him. So Neil steps right up and he said, you remember me? To Mr. Warehouser? He said, I sure do. They were kids only playing together down in those days. And down in Hawthorne, Wisconsin, at the lake. See, Grandpa had a lake home. And so the man just sat right down the chair. He said, didn't say another word about that.
Do you know anything about Dad's family, his father's brothers or sisters or anything like that?
Now, he had twin brothers.
He had twin brothers?
Had twin brothers.
You know their names?
Well, one was Ed, but I don't remember. I think they both had an E, but I can't remember what the rest was. Ed or Edward. I think it was Edwin and Edward.
That's correct.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's correct.
But they were awfully humpbacked. From hard to work, I think.
It had to be hard.
And his
And
mother.
I want you to, because you'll be the way that after that, Bill and Carl went out left with Grandpa's
That's correct.
and the family when we went to Hawthorne. We went fishing Muscalons, that's what we had for a pastime when we went down to Hawthorne, Wisconsin.
Now, Dad's mother was a barber, right?
Yeah, she's a barber. Uh-huh.
And Ida Barber was her name. Now, her father, do you know anything about him?
He was a Civil War man.
You remember him?
Yes.
Can you tell me anything?
He only had 3 wives.
Oh, wow. She'd remember
Well,
that.
tell me about meeting him and talking to him, anything you said or anything you remember about it.
No, I met him just before you were born.
Well, I had my picture taken with
Yeah.
him when I was about 10 years old.
Yeah, Grandma
So you
should-
must have met him sometime.
Yeah, Grandma should have been on that picture instead of Grandpa.
But at that
No.
time or any time, did you talk with him ever?
Hmm?
Did you ever talk with him?
Yeah, but I tell you, when I met him, he was very old, and he if you get told, Grandma gave him $1 to go down and buy, was it eggs or butter it was, and he dropped it. He didn't know he dropped it. So by the time I knew him, he was pretty old, and that was his third wife. All the wives died, and this one died after he did. And she was a nice person.
But you
too.
never talked to him at all.
No, it wouldn't be. It was just like me. You can hardly hear, you know.
Well, see, I can remember as a little boy, about 10 years old, talking to him and having him tell me
I
stories.
don't think you got to be 10 years old.
I have a picture when I was at
You're-
that
Yeah,
age.
is that 10 years old?
Yeah.
Victor? I didn't think you were that old, or maybe
Are
that's
you
old.
talking Barber or?
Barber. Yeah, he died just before Grandpa Williams died.
Yeah, Grandpa Williams died after Grandma, though.
Well, you don't remember much about him at all.
No.
No. Okay.
It's strange, I remember Grandpa Williams,
Oh,
but
yeah.
I don't remember Barber.
Well, you were much younger than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Grandma died before he did. So that's about my whole history, I think, just the way I lived up to the time. Now that my boys are home and they're married, one is 62 and the other one is 57, is it? Tell
At
me.
least.
17 years beyond the 39th anniversary.
Well,
Well, anyway, that's the way it is. Now I have 7 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren, and expecting the 8th great-grandchildren. So I've done all right for building up this world.
you contributed to the population explosion. Good. Well,
Now, for pastime, I have a garden, and now I'm enjoying my family home today. So that, I feel satisfied.
Good. Good. Okay. You think of any questions, Nance, that you wanted to ask? Okay.
Not to be flowers out, but they're not. Well, here it's kind of cool.
Did you put the geraniums in?
I sent money for them. I don't know.
Who put them in, Arthur and?
Frankie, Harold. I sent it to Harold. I want Arthur to put, or Franklin to put geraniums on not geraniums, but peonies on each side, but he won't do it. We had bushes, but they died. See? But I don't know, he said nobody's going to take care of them and they'll die. So look at them now, here all blooming. Look at it.
That's terrible.
Yeah. Come on, you're supposed to be over here.
Come on,
Now, come
Myrtle.
on.
No,
She runs away.
I have never known such terrible 2 years as the last
From what?
retirement.
Oh, yeah?
I just don't.
You don't like it a bit, huh?
No, let me,
But first I've
show me out your
had a couple surgeries
No,
and all
it's
this,
okay.
so, you know.
Oh, so that's part of the bad.
Well, and
Yeah.
then, I think I'm moving pictures.
Yep,
don't-
that's what it is.
I don't
You
get
worry
that.
about that.
I don't get done what I want to. And of course, Here I stand, my mouth is flapping, everybody else is not saying
Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just forget it, sir. Tell me about your operation.
Go, John!
Well, I went in at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Sunday
How long were you in the
morning.
hospital?
We had did
Thursday.
surgery on Monday and got out Thursday afternoon.
Monday and Tuesday afternoon.
Thursday.
Thursday.
For goodness sake.
If his legs would work, he'd have been out Thursday, Wednesday.
Well, they had me froze so solid.
His legs are so poor anyway. But are you gonna come over here and join the discussion? What'd you say your name was? Nancy.
That's Nancy, and that's Joyce, and I don't know what happened to Grace. Where'd she go? Oh, she's over on the swing. Grace went over on the swing.
And then there's those
We better
little,
get her though.
animals on springs that bounce.
Can we call her?
No, that's all right. We got some of her. Let her just.
Here, let me take a few of them now.
You don't know how to do that. Have a baby camera.
I know they didn't show me.
That's okay. We don't have to have any more. That's fine.
Why don't you
So
walk
I got-
around?
Doesn't stop when I take the cemetery first because we were afraid it's going to be rain. I don't know. So it doesn't come.
Do you need much
Yeah, we
rain?
like it. You always like to have a little rain for the
We've
crowds.
got a
huh?
couple of drops though. Oh, that's probably all it'll be. That looked pretty good at the cemetery, didn't it? Yes, very nice and neat.
They're still.
I would wish there was one of those red ones on either side of the grave, but I stepped through it. Red peony? Or mother's red peony? Mine is
If we turn that in the creek, you kneel.
What's that?
Mine is
If we
blooming
turn that in the
now.
creek,
Oh.
No, no. Are there any good places around here?
no, not really.
Oh, you come to me. Come on.
She's just been walking a couple of weeks.
Oh, say. Wave to Grandpa. Wave to Grandpa. Okay.
She's got 2 words. Up,
She wants to be
down,
a- she
bottle.
She wants
No.
you want to walk her. Are these the only 2 you have?
Oh, no, I've got 7.
7.
7 and Nancy's expecting another one in December. So we're going to have a Christmas present.
Oh, boy.
So that'll be 8. How about that? How many do you have?
9. Come on.
9.
I've got a few years on you, though.
Yeah, well, they keep popping out all night long. Now you have 4 children.
4 children, yeah.
Right, that's what we have. But we've got
What
one that
became
hasn't
of our
been
little girl? I don't
married,
see her.
but the youngest hasn't started yet. So
Gladys, where are all the kids?
Kenny's in Joliet, Illinois. Shirley's in Brooklyn Park, Minneapolis. And Sharon and Phil are in Fargo.
and they all have children.
Yeah, I just have to think. Shirley has her oldest one, Nathan. Just graduated. He was 19. He was a 21-week baby, so he wasn't supposed to even live. She's sitting on the she's all right. Diggers over there, and she has one now that's 3, Andrew,
For heaven's
which is
sake.
he's gonna be spoiled.
Yeah. Well, but that's just good
Yeah.
thing.
And then Kenny, the oldest boy, is a
Yeah, let me tell you, you show me how to operate.
Yeah. And he's the one that lost.
Now,
Yeah, Kenny is. And Greg is a quadriplegic, and he lives in the lower level of Kenny's home. He has his own place.
Yeah, what was he in an accident?
Yeah, car accident when he was 15. He's now 22. And he lives there. He has his own software computer business. And he's into computers. He's a
sure you got
cartoonist.
people try that.
He writes with a
Would you like to try it? Is that what you want to do?
arms
Just
with,
take a look. You can see it through there. You don't have to do anything. It's running by itself.
And then he has this.
Just look through here.
Look
through this. Look at the other
hand.
hand.
And then he has
Can you see anything through there?
some kind of apparatus that. So he's.
Oh, you can't see anything now.
Now has sent some kind of.
What you have to do? There you go. Can you look through there? I'll hold it.
Use his computer to do his drawing? Or not?
Some of it, yeah.
Yeah.
But then this.
Oh, yeah, now you
Character he's been working on since he was 12. He's got.
I wanted her on the picture.
That's right at that one.
Then who cares?
Ariane comes in morning and no, Penny's working.
Oh, what?
A nurse
Just
comes
runs
in.
by itself.
A male nurse comes in the morning and.
Got a battery.
Is it running now?
It's running. There's a microphone here. It's picking up what we're saying and what they're saying.
Oh.
They do. Like
And then you could take it in and I could put it on your TV.
Get extra price for it. I heard you.
Do you have
I
a
didn't know you had any
video
price.
recorder?
Great.
VCR?
Yeah.
I'll show it to you.
Art. What's the problem? Oh.
We didn't you paid right
Yeah,
off
this
there?
is second trip.
No, I take it out. I
He
take
had
the...
this done
Oh,
after
take-
his,
take
Yeah, you have, you know, the tape, the tapes, videotape.
Yeah.
Just take it out and put it on and play it.
Oh,
couldn't pass the water. Oh, so they just put them right back in the surgery.
you got a beautiful car there.
That's just a rent.
Oh, you had?
Oh,
Isn't
they
mine.
They told him that he has to get
It's
moving
a
around.
brand new one, though, isn't it?
The ones that-
Don't pay any attention to this, Harold. There's another guy over here. What do you know?
Hi, Dale.
There's old Frank. How you doing, buddy?
Good to get back for old man, I guess.
I'm taking your picture.
Oh, yeah, I know that. Don't bump the camera.
Here, Art. Point it at him. Can you see him in there? Can you see him in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, just point it at him. How you doing,
How
buddy?
you doing, boy?
Good to
Nice to
see
see
you.
ya. Yeah.
My old uncle.
I got to think it's many
Harry,
years.
you get in there too.
Yeah.
What?
You get in
Well, I was at your mother's funeral.
Oh, you were there.
Yeah,
I was trying
I
to
was
think
there.
if you were there or not.
Get over there closer, will you?
We'll go over here by him.
Looks like life street is pretty good.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Ah, really
No.
nice to see you.
How about that, Art?
Oh, looking real clear.
We're looking real good?
Yeah.
Come on in. Let's go ahead. We'll walk on up there. Can I help you up the curb there?
I'm fine. I'm just,
Looks like your legs are beginning to give out.
Well,
on you, huh?
you give me a back operation about 4 years
Oh
ago,
my goodness sake.
and you chopped me up pretty good.
Yeah. Well, that's too bad.
Well, like you say, you can't expect too much from old man.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you're looking for a little rain, huh?
Come in.
Yeah, sure we are. Well, we arrived last Wednesday afternoon. Yeah.
Neil, will you come shut it off and take care of it?
Yeah, I'll get it.
I don't know. I don't know how to operate it. So.
You're doing fine.
I turned open it. Turned it up.
Neil,
What's that?
what have you been doing since you retired from jursmanship?
Nothing except we sold out our house in Connecticut and we bought this other place and it's just been a process of moving out.
Oh, I see.
I'll come on in with you. Open the door, huh?
If it's alright where they are, but that looks convenient.
Nice and convenient. It's convenient for you where you are.
Oh, yeah.
Sit down now.
I didn't figure I could fight the snow with my snow anymore.
Uh-huh.
We'll help you.
I don't walk that good anymore, you know, so. Hi, Myrtle.
Oh, hi there.
Glad to get talking to you.
Come on, Mitch.
How you doing?
We was gonna stop at yours, but we went out to the cemetery first.
Yeah.
So,
What's it?
Nice.
you're behind you.
You need an extra light?
No, that's okay.
Was it okay out there, Myrtle? Out at the cemetery? Was it all wind blown today, maybe? Was it okay?
She's asking you if it looked okay
Hi
at the
there.
cemetery.
How are you?
She doesn't want much to do with you, but she'll talk to you.
You know how you can turn it on?
Adeline,
You can go
how are your family?
Pretty good, I guess.
I mean,
Our kids, you mean?
Yes.
They're fine.
Where,
Busy.
where are they all at?
Oh, Gene lives about 3 miles away from us.
And he's,
And,
what's he doing?
Farming.
Uh-huh.
Jim of the old block.
And how many children does he have?
He has 2, a boy and a girl.
Uh-huh. And is his boy going to be a farmer too?
Oh, no, well, no, I don't think so. He's,
Public
Yes.
accounting,
yeah, I guess so.
you just graduated now. Certified.
CPA is what he's.
PCE.
Yeah, so he doesn't enjoy the farm and the machinery and
Oh,
Well, he's out
How are
That's why
there.
you're handing out.
He's out there helping the folks every.
Do nothing.
and is his girl still in school?
Is it hard for you to be alone?
she, I think she graduated.
Girl?
No. Can we get out to the farm?
She is
Oh,
in high
yeah.
She's got 2 years then. I mean,
Really?
they want to see your
On
place
the
too,
back,
you know.
That sounds like you have so many grandchildren
That's
you
Chris-
can't keep
that's
track
Chris-
of
We
all.
have 12.
That's Christine.
Uh-huh.
How about Jimmy?
Jimmy has 2 daughters.
And where does he live?
He lives in West Fargo,
Uh-huh.
and he's been there for many, many years now.
And what does Jimmy do?
He works for the city
Uh-huh.
of West Fargo. And they have 2 daughters. One is going to the university in Grand Forks.
Uh-huh.
Well, I think she's through it. She's just taking some advanced courses. And
She can have.
While we're waiting to
and
see
Mark, let's see,
Yes.
what is Jimmy's
I
second
don't
girl's
want to
name?
walk
Hi
in
there.
when he's concentrating on him.
Hi.
Say it now.
What's your name?
Well, anyway, she has, is assisting a dental assistant.
Mm-hmm.
And then she has Karen, yeah, she has 2 kids. One is a nurse, Jennifer's a nurse at St.
But when you were in Minneapolis,
At the-
I called you.
at the,
But did you
she
say,
has 2
you
kids.
tried to call me?
Jennifer
No, I would
is
have.
a nurse at the.
Oh.
But I told,
Yeah.
right
And,
about Monday
Matt.
morning, and he tried to left for,
He's down in the city doing something. And then
you and Bill out there.
maybe he's.
Yeah, where does Karen
I
live?
don't know.
Lives
I
out
don't
by,
know.
Cummings.
I didn't hear
on
a
a
thing
farm.
about you being in the hospital. I was
And
surprised.
she
Of
works
course,
for
I
the
wouldn't have gotten no care anyway.
ASCS office in Hillsborough.
Right.
Oh, they're all busy.
Anyway.
They
What?
went so fast.
And
that
Tom
we-
Farms.
And farms, yeah,
I
they
don't
farm.
understand how they believe it. It was so fast.
And the last one?
I can't hardly believe it.
Ah,
With no patient.
Judy. Judy works for, this, Fargo's lawyer,
Oh,
city lawyer.
And she lives in Fargo.
Bill had quite a-
Moorhead. Uh-huh.
New development out in southeast.
Oh, and,
And she has
and
children.
then the
She has-
Sunday morning, 9
She
o'clock.
has 4 kids,
What?
yeah.
I went in the Sunday morning, 9
Well, they're
o'clock.
busy then. They're all
Oh, yes,
busy.
yes,
Oh,
they're
what
busy.
you did.
Yeah, 9 o'clock
Oh,
Sunday.
right.
Myrtle,
On Sunday
Myrtle has a
morning.
picture at home of you and Harold looking beautiful, gorgeous,
right?
on your 50th anniversary.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, was that recently? How long ago was
I
that?
have, I grabbed as I left the house.
About 4 years ago.
That Nick came in.
Have we been married?
Took
54
the love out
years?
of me.
54
Five,
years?
5-2. That's a plus.
Okay,
Coming
2
up
years
54.
ago. What?
Very nice. So the kids had a big party for you?
Oh, did they ever? Yes.
So,
Here in
by 8
Halstead
o'clock
or
that
where?
At
In
the,
town?
at the Royal Fort.
Oh, I
West
see.
of West Fargo.
Right.
And,
You'll be in the operating.
oh, they had a big reception for
Renegade
us.
Street,
We were at Judy's house. the
technician
rest of
with
the day. After going there, then we had the wedding cake.
Because the technician.
Yes, I got
Let's see the picture.
Pet
Can you hold it up so I can take a look at it?
at 8 o'clock, I was just.
Individual
That broke in my
signatures
head.
here.
I don't think
I
I
had
had,
a
I just took
spinal.
these in a hurry, because I didn't,
I had a spinal.
Oh, I
Told him what
I
we
was what's going on there.
Let's see that
Well,
one.
not really.
Can-
Till the
Yeah.
hour till-
I don't
Did I
think
do
you
it?
can get much of
The-
that.
Even, Bob told me was.
Yeah. Okay, that's a gang.
Is that a different one, maybe?
Yeah,
Oh,
there's another one. That's good.
That's beautiful. That's
Oh, I'm not
beautiful.
holding it straight.
That's all right. That's good.
I guess they're pretty nice, all right.
Now, is this Karen? I remember Karen when she was so little. This is Karen. I remember her beautiful eyes. She has a beautiful- And this is Judy. And this one is Jean. And
Oh, you're doing so
yeah,
well.
yeah. Oh, they're beautiful. Just beautiful family.
Yeah.
So what do you do to keep yourself busy, Franklin?
When I go there.
I'm not
a darn thing, that's trouble.
It's
Well, they were coming into it, but
Yeah.
they didn't.
Watch a little TV.
When I was in the afternoon.
Some,
mostly in the evenings, never at any time. Before I play some cards,
Yeah.
pass some time, that way.
Good.
And you win once in a while?
I lose once in a while.
Yeah.
You know, if you won all the time, you wouldn't live.
That's right. It would be boring, wouldn't it? Do you play with the neighbors?
But again,
No, but that's
show
not.
the pictures
Uh-huh.
when you get back home.
Do you have congenial neighbors? They're mostly
Oh, well,
retired.
I got a friend across the street, that's about next door, and then that's about it.
Girlfriend?
Well, if you should see her I got live next to me and never go home.
Do you do your own cooking?
Some of it.
And then eat out occasionally?
Yeah,
Or?
I eat out quite a bit. Most time for dinner.
We got a very good restaurant on the highway there.
Uh-huh.
A very good cook. She's been cooking down there for the last 10 years.
It's a gas station.
But they know what Franklin likes.
No, it's a regular menu. I mean, you come in there, I can tell you every day what I'm going to get.
It's
That's the only part.
It's like
good
home
about it.
cooking. It's a certain
Yeah.
thing.
They have a special each day. Right.
Yeah.
And no surprise.
Well, but really, we just have that one thing usually.
Yeah, and then
So,
you could.
so Wednesday it's meatloaf, and Thursday it's pork chop.
Yeah, that's
Friday
about
it's
it.
salmon loaf. Yeah.
You know what was going to come.
But
That's the only
then
thing
they
that's
do
a
short
little
orders.
bit bad about it.
Well, then on Friday and Saturday.
But the food is good. That
Yeah, that's
means a
good.
lot.
Friday and Saturday they have 2 different types, don't they?
Well,
They
yeah,
have
really
other
good
days
to
too
do.
sometimes.
But-
Did you have fun?
Boy, oh boy.
You don't see-
You're gonna stand? Got your fork there, would you? How about lemonade? Oh.
Sure.
He wants you to be doing things.
Let somebody take your picture.
I'm gonna sit down. I think my hair is so pretty in the back.
Well, that's quite a gadget. That's quite a gadget.
Yes, there was coffee here.
And the price is pretty good again? Or?
Yes.
I just want to document how we all got to look this way.
We got it all emptied out?
Pretty much so. People all laying on the front there and all around here. It's been too wet most of the time. It's good and nice.
That's right. I'm that mind myself.
That's all I've done.
Yeah, I tell you, when I got the last one married, I said, oh, they all had their education and they all had their husbands, and I said, that's it. Now they walk out their house. That's it.
How you doing? Coming out of the rain? That's fine. Take a picture of the house.
You know, a few years ago, a storm, there used to be a machine shed there. And bad storm took her right out. A big branch from that tree.
Between where those two trees are?
Yeah.
Back where the...
You know, where all that machine
Yeah,
used to be a building.
yeah. And it got hit by lightning, or?
Branch from that tree, that old building.
Yeah.
All the parts of it.
Yeah. So, how did you do it? Oh, it looks good around here. Really nice. Boy, if I ever get this. Neil, do you remember these trees when you were home? Isn't that terrific?
Were they shot up?
Oh my goodness.
The water never got up to the main floor. But the neighbor. She comes.
Oh, gosh. Frank?
Oh, it's so
Who
sad.
is that?
Not to see somebody live here. Like, Frank, you can't live here anymore.
Who are the pictures here on the wall?
Grandparents.
The Gilbertsons?
Roger.
So that would be Grandma's mother
This is
and Grandma's father.
Yeah.
Pictures, Neil. Art said
Oh,
he thinks
that's
his
Roger,
grandma
yeah, that's right.
Gilbertson
That's
and
Roger.
Grandpa Gilbertson. And how old was she when just then she died? Do you know? Young woman.
This is Roger Schultz.
Youngest middle one. Oh. And his wife and family, where are they?
I have no idea where they are now. Frank probably knows. I haven't heard from them. I don't know where any of those kids are. We lost touch here after Eleanor died.
That's too bad. Yeah. Jane was down in Charlottesville, Virginia.
It's been nice meeting you and your
I'm gonna go.
children.
You promise?
Yep. Good to see you.
Good to see you again, Harold. Good to see you looking so well. I'm glad you could come over.
Good to see you.
Yeah.
Really.
I'm gonna get kinda.
Well, you can take over here if you need them.
We'll see you, Adeline.
Okay.
Good to see you
It's been
again.
good seeing you, that's for sure.
Yeah. Take care of yourself. Remember us to the children.
Thank you. Will. Yeah.
Tell them we think
I
of
wish they could have been.
Well, I do too. I kind of wish we should have had a whole family reunion. Well, maybe another year. Another year we thought we'd like to drive out and take more time. But we hadn't been out so long, so we've got just to go and see Merlin, and that's important. Yeah, well, time has a way of getting away too fast, and the next thing you know, it's, the years have flown by. Pretty good. Yeah, yeah, I just got out and got some fresh flowers.
Too bad he didn't get a picture like this before he put the picture on.
Yeah. He did. Just, well, we lived there 25 years, and it's nice to have, and now he's got a little plate here of the family. What was this?
It's a family tree.
Yeah. Holy Forsyth and Martha Forsyth. Okay, and the kids then. Where did that come from?
I don't know who
Painted it.
been down too and broken.
Yeah. Villa?
Adeline,
Lila Gilbertson.
turn it over and right by your hand there. I want to take a close-up of this so I can read it. Well, I can't, I guess. It's just too dark.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, who did that plate, do you know?
Lila,
They broke
second
it.
cousin. That's, no, she isn't even related. She's, her husband was,
That's been out since they, that paper's never been changed. This internet, this wallpaper, never been changed.
Oh, it's been changed sometime, that's.
Look here, all them nice things here. Sitting here.
Well, I can see that it's more than, oh, here's the 50th wedding anniversary right here. This is her granddaughter that's taken over here. This is Judy's.
You have to be a little careful.
Well, you have to know if you're ready.
Here's my yeah. And then, yeah, look at this one. Oh, I see.
Now, who are those people?
No, that's my mother's stepmother's family.
Now,
It
who are the people?
And listen here, this is mother.
You're right in
This
front of the
Uncle
camera.
Henry.
I can't see. Well, you have to be off at the side. Go off to the side and point them out.
Yeah, go up here. Stand here and point them out. Oh. You stand here, Myrtle. Over to this side. Okay. This is Uncle Henry. Carl. This is Grandma Lena. This is Gilbert Gilbertson. This is Henry Gilbertson. This is Gamanda Gilbertson. And that's Ida Gilbertson. That's my mother, Regina Gilbertson. Forsyth now.
So that's her whole family, her mother and father and her brothers and sisters.
Yeah, father and stepmother.
Stepmother, yes.
And full brother and half sisters and brother. Get it cleaned in gasoline. It's worth. There's a little necklace here I'd like to get for a little girl. I'll tell you.
Hi, Nance.
You know them the evergreens are planted for Mother's 85th birthday? They really take care of them. They claim a good evergreen will grow a foot a year. Well, it takes them about 3 years to even get started, really, doesn't it?
This is the backyard at 1541 Red Cedar Road in Eagan, Minnesota. Look at the beautiful vegetables. I don't think Carl's going to have enough tomatoes this year. He's short of tomatoes. How about that for a tomato plant? Look at that beauty. There are going to be a few on there. And there's some beans. Oh, and a few boll weevils too. Do you see those boll weevils on there? Those little bean weevils? Yeah, well, they won't be there tomorrow. They've been eating malathion all night. What a garden. And a few raspberries over here this year. And here's the back of the house with a nice little patio and flowers and a place to hang your hammock. And I think Carl is up there playing the piano for us. Let's go inside and take a look and listen to the game. Nice little place to sit here too, huh? Yep, he's playing. An organ.
have E and D, E, F.
Is it with D, E, F?
I don't think it's my estimation of the whole situation. Oh, way to go there, Graham. Oh, there isn't any C. It's just A, B, D, E.
The I.
I thought C, I thought you were trying to say that C was on there. I thought it was like, I thought it was A, B, C.
Is it A, B? C is the I over. Yeah.
Are you having fun yet?
We have fun yet? I want to go to Santa Barbara.
Some of us
I want to go to Santa Barbara. Not staying.
There's no place like
Okay. We should have been doing that at Carl's Day. Did you have lunch with Amy?
She's glad to see it.
Yeah.
Which kind of fry?
Okay.
Are you glad to see Joycey? Huh? Are you glad?
Sarah doesn't go to school anymore.
No. But it's summertime. It's summer.
or you want some apart? Grab the bottom side.
Okay.
Hey girls, who's here? Let's go, let's go, let's go.